Good morning and welcome back to Reading Wikis for You, where we read the wiki articles for you. And today we're going to be taking a look at the Buffalo Bills for the National Football League. Now, do keep in mind, while I'm reading, go ahead and drop a comment down below. Let me know what kind of articles you'd like to hear next. But with that out of the way, let's get into it. The Buffalo Bills are a professional American football team based in the Buffalo Niagara Falls metropolitan area. The Bills compete in the National Football League as a member of the American Football Conference East Division. The team plays its home games at Highmark Stadium in Orchard Park, New York, and is building a new stadium which will be completed in 2026. Founded in 1959 as a charter member of the American Football League, the team joined the NFL in 1970 after the AFL-NFL merger. The team's name is taken from an All-American Football Conference franchise from Buffalo that was named after Western frontiersman Buffalo Bill. Drawing much of its fan base from Western New York and neighboring Southern Ohio, the Bills are the only NFL team that plays home games in the state of New York. The franchise is owned by Terry Pegula, who purchased the Bills after the death of the original owner, Ralph Wilson, in 2014, and a coalition of private equity funds and investors who purchased a minority stake in the team in 2024. The Bills advanced to the AFL Championship game 3 years in a row from 1964 to 1966, winning the first two, the only major professional sports championship for a team representing Buffalo. They struggled heavily in the later years of the AFL and for much of their first 2 decades in the NFL, tallying only 5 winning seasons and 3 postseasons berths from 1967 to 1987. They became perennial postseason contenders in the late 1980s. From 1990 to 1993, they appeared in a record 4 consecutive Super Bowls and lost each one. From the early 2000s to the mid-2010s, the Bills endured the longest playoff drought in the 4 major North American professional sports, a 17-year span that made them the last franchise in the 4 leagues to qualify for the postseason in the 21st century. They returned to consistent postseason contention by the late 2010s, but not the Super Bowl. Their 4 Super Bowl appearances are the most among NFL franchises that have not won a Super Bowl, a record they share with the Minnesota Vikings. In 2024, the Bills became one of the first NFL teams to sell part of their franchise to outside private equity investors. 20.6% of the team interest was sold at a valuation of $5.6 billion, including 10% to the American investment group Arctos Partners LP. History. The Bills began competitive play in 1960 as a charter member of the American Football League, led by head coach Buster Ramsey, and joined the NFL as part of the AFL-NFL merger in 1970. In the first 2 seasons, the Bills went 5-8-1 and 6-8 under Ramsey. The Bills won 2 consecutive American Football League titles in 1964 and 1965 with quarterback Jack Kemp and coach Lou Saban, but the club has yet to win a league championship since. Once the AFL-NFL merger took effect, the Bills became the second NFL team to represent the city. They followed the Buffalo All-Americans, a chartered member of the league. Buffalo had been left out of the league since the All-Americans, by that point renamed the Bisons, folded in 1929. The Bills were no less than the 3rd professional non-NFL team to compete in the city before the merger, after the Indians Tigers of the early 1940s and an earlier team named the Bills, originally the Bisons, in the late 1940s in the All-America Football Conference. After the AFL-NFL merger, the Bills were genuinely mediocre in the 1970s, but featured all-pro running back O.J. Simpson. After being pushed to the brink of failure in the mid-1980s, the collapse of the United States Football League, and a series of highly drafted players such as Jim Kelly, who initially played for the USFL instead of the Bills, Thurman Thomas, Bruce Smith, and Darryl Talley allowed the Bills to rebuild into a perennial contender in the late 1980s through the mid-1990s under head coach Marv Levy, a period in which the team won 4 consecutive AFC championships. The team nevertheless lost all 4 subsequent Super Bowls, records in both categories that still stand. The rise of the division rival New England Patriots under Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, along with numerous failed attempts at rebuilding in the 2000s and 2010s, helped prevent the Bills from reaching the playoffs in 17 consecutive seasons between 2000 and 2016, a 17-year drought that was the longest active player drought in all major professional sports at the time. Mike Mularkey coached the Bills in the 2004 and 2005 seasons. He went 9-7, but missed the postseason in 2004 and 5-11 in 2005. He resigned from the team after the 2005 season. From 2006 to 2009, the Bills were coached by Dick Jauron. After 3 consecutive 7-9 seasons, Jauron was dismissed after a 3-6 start to his 4th season. Perry Fewell finished out the season as interim with a 3-4 mark. From 2010 to 2012, the Bills were coached by Chan Gailey. The team had Ryan Fitzpatrick as their quarterback in those seasons. Gailey was fired after 3 consecutive last-place finishes in the AFC East. Doug Marrone was hired to be the Bills' head coach before the 2013 season. The Bills went 6-10 in the 2013 season and improved to 9-7 in the 2014 season. Marrone decided to step down as head coach after the season. On October 8, 2014, Buffalo Sabres owners Terry and Kim Pegula received unanimous approval to acquire the Bills during the NFL owners' meetings, becoming the second ownership group of the team after team founder Ralph Wilson. Before the 2015 season, the team hired former Jets head coach Rex Ryan to become the next head coach of the Bills. The team went 8-8 in 2015 and 7-9 in 2016. Ryan was dismissed with 1 game remaining in the 2016 season, with Anthony Lynn finishing the season as interim. Sean McDermott era, 2017 to present. Under head coach Sean McDermott, the Bills broke the playoff drought, appearing in the playoffs for 7 of the next 8 seasons. The team drafted Wyoming quarterback Josh Allen with the 7th overall pick in the first round of the 2018 NFL Draft. The team earned its first division championship and playoff wins since 1995 during the 2020 season, attributed to the Bills' own development of a core talent including Allen, Stefon Diggs, Matt Milano, and Tre'Davious White. In the 2020 season, the Bills reached the AFC Championship for the first time since the 1993 season. However, their run ended with a 38-24 loss to the Kansas City Chiefs. The Bills won the AFC East with an 11-6 record in the 2021 season. The Bills defeated the Patriots 47-17 in the wild card round before falling to the Kansas City Chiefs 42-36 in overtime. In the 2022 season, the Bills won the AFC East with a 13-3 record. The season saw a canceled game against the Bengals due to a near-fatal medical episode with Damar Hamlin, who eventually recovered and returned to football activities the following season. The team defeated the Miami Dolphins in the wild card round 34-31 before falling to the Cincinnati Bengals 27-10 in the divisional round. In the 2023 season, the Bills won the AFC East for the 4th consecutive season. In the wild card round, they defeated the Pittsburgh Steelers 31-17 before falling to the Kansas City Chiefs in the divisional round 27-24. In the 2024 season, the Bills finished with a 13-4 record, won another AFC East title. After wins over the Denver Broncos in the wild card round and the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round, the Bills lost to the Kansas City Chiefs in the AFC Championship. After Kim Pegula was incapacitated by a 2022 vascular brain injury, a portion of her stake in the team was transferred to her stepdaughter, Laura, with a 20% stake in the team sold to a coalition of private equity investors and former Toronto athletes Josie Altidore, Vince Carter, and Tracy McGrady in December 2024. The Bills announced plans to build a new stadium to replace Highmark Stadium to be ready in 2026. Logos and uniforms. For their first 2 seasons, the Bills wore uniforms based on those of the Detroit Lions at the time. Ralph Wilson had been a minority owner of the Lions before founding the Bills, and the Bills' predecessors in the AAFC had also worn blue and silver uniforms. The team's original colors were Honolulu blue, silver, and white, and the helmets were silver with no striping. There was no logo on the helmet, which displayed the players' numbers on each side. In 1962, the standing red bison was designated as the logo and took its place on a white helmet. In 1962, the team's colors also changed to red, white, and blue. The team switched to blue jerseys with red and white shoulder stripes, similar to the Buffalo Bison's AHL hockey team of the same era. The helmets were white with a red center stripe. The jerseys again saw a change in 1964 when the shoulder stripes were replaced by a distinctive stripe pattern on the sleeves consisting of 4 stripes, 2 thicker inner stripes, and 2 thinner outer stripes, all bordered by red piping. By 1965, red and blue center stripes were put on the helmets. The Bills introduced blue pants worn with the white jerseys in 1973, the last year of the standing buffalo helmet. The blue pants remained through 1985. The face mask on the helmet was blue from 1974 through 1986 before changing to white. The Standing Bison logo was replaced by a blue charging one with a red slanting stripe streaming from its horn. The newer emblem, still the primary one used by the franchise, was designed by aerospace designer Stevens Wright in 1974. In 1984, the helmet's shell color was changed from white to red, primarily to help Bills quarterback Joe Ferguson distinguish them more readily from three of their division rivals at the time, the Baltimore Colts, the Miami Dolphins, and the New England Patriots, who all also wore white helmets at that point. Ferguson said, "Everyone we played had white helmets at the time. Our new head coach, Kay Stevenson, just wanted to get more of a contrast on the field that may help spot a receiver down the field." The Patriots have worn silver helmets since 1993. The Colts have since been realigned to the AFC South, and in 2019, the New York Jets have since switched back to green-colored helmets after playing 20 years with white ones. In 2002, under the direction of general manager Tom Donahoe, the Bills' uniforms went through radical changes. A darker shade of blue was introduced as the primary jersey color, and nickel gray was introduced as an accent color. Both the blue and white jerseys featured red side panels. The white jerseys included a darker blue shoulder yoke and royal blue numbers. The helmet remained primarily red one with a navy blue, 2 nickel, and two royal blue, 2 white stripes, and a white face mask. A new logo, a stylized B consisting of 2 bullets and a more detailed buffalo head on top, was proposed and had been released. It can now be seen on a few baseball caps that were released for sale. But fan backlash led to the team retaining the running bison logo. The helmet logo adopted in 1974, a charging royal blue bison with a red streak, white horn, and eyeball, remained unchanged. In 2005, the Bills revived the standing bison helmet and uniform of the mid-1960s as a throwback uniform. The Bills usually wore the all-blue combination at home and the all-white combination on the road when not wearing the throwback uniforms. They stopped wearing blue on white after 2006, while the white on blue was not worn after 2007. For the 2011 season, the Bills unveiled a new uniform design, an updated rendition of the 1975 to 83 design. This change includes a return to the white helmets with charging buffalo logo and a return to royal blue instead of navy. The set initially featured striped socks, but by 2021, the Bills gradually reduced its usage and began wearing either all white or all blue hosiery without stripes in most games. Buffalo sporadically wore white at home in the 1980s, including all 8 home games in 1984, but stopped doing so beginning in 1987. On November 6, 2011, against the New York Jets, the Bills wore white at home for the first time since 1986. Since 2011, the Bills have worn white for home games, either with their primary uniform or a throwback set. The Bills' uniform received minor alterations as part of the league's new uniform contract with Nike. The new Nike uniform was unveiled on April 3, 2012. On November 12, 2015, the Bills and the New York Jets became the first 2 teams to participate in the NFL's Color Rush uniform initiative, with Buffalo wearing an all-red combination for the first time in team history. Like the primary uniforms, the set initially had red socks with white and blue stripes, but in 2020 it was replaced with red socks without stripes. A notable use of the Bills' uniforms outside of football was in the 2018 World Junior Ice Hockey Championships, when the United States men's national junior ice hockey team wore Bills-inspired uniforms in their outdoor game against Team Canada on December 29, 2017. This game was also played at the Bills' home stadium, Highmark Stadium. On April 1st, 2021, the team announced they would wear white face masks during the upcoming season and beyond. On December 22, 2024, the team debuted a brand new uniform combination consisting of their red Color Rush uniform and white pants. On July 22, 2025, the Bills brought back the 1984 to 2010 red charging buffalo helmet as an alternate, which they would wear January 4, 2026 against the New York Jets with the primary blue uniforms. Additionally, after last wearing the standing buffalo throwback in 2021, the Bills brought back the design for 2 home games to mark the original Highmark Stadium's final season. On August 28, 2025, the Bills unveiled a rivalries uniform, which they would wear once per season at home against each of their AFC East opponents over a 3-year period. The all-white uniform, dubbed the Cold Front, featured silver numbers trimmed in blue and a modified charging buffalo in silver with blue trim, along with silver and blue stripes on the helmet. Red was not featured in the uniform as it signified warmth. Rivalries. The Bills have rivalries with their three AFC East opponents, the Miami Dolphins, New England Patriots, and New York Jets, and with the Baltimore Indianapolis Colts, a former divisional opponent, Kansas City Chiefs, Houston Oilers and Tennessee Titans, Jacksonville Jaguars, and the Dallas Cowboys. The Cleveland Browns shared a rivalry with the Bills' predecessors in the All-America Football League Conference. The current teams have a more friendly relationship and have played sporadically since the AFL-NFL merger. Divisional: Miami Dolphins. This is often considered Buffalo's most famous rivalry. The Bills were one of the original 8 American Football League, while the Dolphins began playing in 1966 as an expansion team. The rivalry first gained prominence when the Dolphins won every matchup against the Bills in the 1970s and the first of the 1980s for an NFL record of 20 straight wins against a single opponent. Fortunes changed in the following decades with the rise of Jim Kelly as Buffalo's franchise quarterback, though Kelly and Dolphins quarterback Dan Marino shared a competitive rivalry in the 1980s and 1990s. The Bills became dominant in the 1990s. Things cooled down after the retirements of Kelly and Marino and the rise of the New England Patriots in the 2000 and 2010s. But Miami remains a fierce rival of the Bills, coming in second place in a recent poll of Buffalo's primary rival, and the two teams have typically been close to each other in win-loss records. They have often competed for the division title since Tua Tagovailoa became Miami's quarterback, despite Buffalo's 13-2 record over the Dolphins under Josh Allen. Miami leads the overall series 62-61-1 as of 2025, but Buffalo has the advantage in the playoffs at 4-1, including a win in the 1992 AFC Championship game. New England Patriots. The rivalry with the New England Patriots began when both teams were original franchises in the American Football League before the NFL-AFL merger, but did not gain notability until the emergence of New England quarterback Tom Brady in 2001. The teams were very competitive before the 2000s, however Brady's arrival in the early 2000s led to the Patriots dominating the AFC East, including the Bills for 2 decades. As a result, New England replaced the Dolphins as Buffalo's most hated rival. The Bills have taken an 8-3 edge since Brady's departure in 2020, which included consecutive AFC East titles from 2020 to 2024 and a season sweep of the Patriots in 2 of the first 3 years. In 2021, the Bills dominated in a 47-17 victory against the Patriots in the two teams' first playoff matchup in 59 years, which saw the Bills score a touchdown on every offensive drive throughout the entire game, and, as such, is the only perfect offensive game in NFL history. Overall, the Patriots lead the series 79-51-1 as of 2024, but trail the Bills by a 48-47-1 margin without Brady on the field. Several players have played for both teams, including Drew Bledsoe, Doug Flutie, Lawyer Milloy, Brandon Spikes, Scott Chandler, Chris Hogan, Mike Gillislee, and Stephon Gilmore. New York Jets. The Bills and Jets, both original AFL teams, represent the state of New York, though the Jets have played their home games in East Rutherford, New Jersey since 1984. While the rivalry represents the differences between New York City and Western New York, it has historically not been as intense as Buffalo's rivalries with the Dolphins and Patriots. When not playing one another, the team's fan bases either have grudging respect or low-key annoyance for each other, stemming more from the broader upstate-downstate tensions than the teams or sport. The Bills-Jets rivalry has often become characterized by ugly games and shared mediocrity, but has had a handful of competitive moments. The series heated up recently when former Jets head coach Rex Ryan became the Bills head coach for 2 seasons and had become notable again as Bills quarterback Josh Allen and former Jets quarterback Sam Darnold, both drafted in the same year, maintained a friendly rivalry with one another. Buffalo leads the series 72-58 as of 2025, including a playoff win in 1981. Conference: Kansas City Chiefs. The Kansas City Chiefs, another original franchise in the AFL, have a long history against the Bills, despite the two teams never being in the same division. Buffalo currently leads the series 30-26-1, which has included 7 playoff meetings, 4 of which were AFL-AFC championship games. Kansas City won the 1966 AFL championship game that determined the AFL's representative in the first Super Bowl against the NFL champion Green Bay Packers. In addition to the 2020 and 2024 AFC championship games, that saw the team advance to its second and fifth Super Bowl appearances in 6 years, respectively, while Buffalo defeated Kansas City in the 1993 AFC Championship game to advance to its fourth straight Super Bowl appearance. However, after each victory in the AFC Championship game, the Chiefs or the Bills went on to lose the ensuing Super Bowl. Despite a lull in the series in the 2000s and 2010s, the rivalry gained attention as the Bills and Chiefs met in 9 of 10 years from 2008 to 2017. After a 2-year hiatus in the series, a rivalry between Bills quarterback Josh Allen and Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes developed, particularly in the postseason, drawing comparisons to Jim Kelly's rivalry with Dan Marino, as well as the rivalry between Tom Brady and Peyton Manning. Since 2019, 4 high-profile postseason matchups occurred between the Bills and Chiefs. The 4 playoff games included the aforementioned 2020 championship game and the 2021 divisional round game, the latter of which is now considered one of the greatest playoff games of all time, but was also controversial due to the league's overtime rules. In the 2023 divisional round, Bills lost to the Chiefs 24-27 as Bills kicker Tyler Bass missed the game-tying field goal attempt wide right, a play that evoked memories of Scott Norwood missing the game-winning field goal attempt in Super Bowl 25. In the 2024 AFC Championship game, Bills failed to convert 2 fourth downs in the fourth quarter. The first was a 4th and inches quarterback sneak by Allen that was controversially ruled short of the line of gain, and the second was a 4th and 5 pass from Allen that the tight end Kincaid dropped while sliding. The Chiefs went on to win 32-29. In the 4 playoff matchups between Allen and Mahomes, Mahomes leads the series 4-0. Jacksonville Jaguars. A new rivalry emerged between the Bills and the Jacksonville Jaguars after former Bills head coach Doug Marrone, who had quit the team after the 2014 season, was hired as a coaching assistant for Jacksonville and eventually rose to become the Jaguars' head coach. The first game between the Marrone-led Jaguars was a London game in Week 7 of the 2015 season, which saw the Jaguars win 34-31. The most important game of this series was an ugly, low-scoring wildcard game in 2017 that saw the Jaguars win 10-3. This game is notable as it was the first Bills playoff appearance in 17 seasons. Before this, Jacksonville had handed Buffalo its first playoff loss in Bills Stadium in 1996. The Bills and Jaguars have since met 3 times. The first was a rematch game in Week 12 of the 2018 season. The Bills won 24-21. The teams brawled after trash talk from former Jaguars players such as Jalen Ramsey. The second time was in Week 9 of the 2021 season. By now, the point of the rivalry, Marrone's feud with the Bills organization, and the personal drama between Bills and Jaguars players no longer applied as Marrone had been fired and replaced by Urban Meyer, and all the players from the 2017 Jaguars team have since moved on to other teams or retired. Regardless, this game was the 7th largest upset at the time in NFL history. The 15.5-point favorite Bills lost 9-6. The most recent meeting between the two teams was a 47-10 Bills win on Monday Night Football in 2024. The series is tied at 10-10. Houston Oilers, Tennessee Titans. The Tennessee Titans, formerly the Houston Oilers, also share an extended history with the Bills, with both teams being original AFL clubs and rivals in that league's East Division before the AFL-NFL merger. Matchups were intense in the 1980s and 1990s, with quarterback Warren Moon leading the Oilers against Jim Kelly's Bills. Memorable playoff moments between the teams in the 1990s include the comeback in which the Frank Reich led Bills overcame a 35-3 deficit to stun the Oilers 41-38 in 1992, and the Music City Miracle in which the now Titans scored on a near last-minute kickoff return with a controversial lateral pass ruling to beat the Bills 22-16 in 1999. To add insult to injury, the Music City Miracle was Buffalo's last playoff appearance until 2017, leading to resentment by Bills fans towards the Titans. After both teams failed to reach the same success in the late 2000s to early 2010s, they returned to consistent playoff contention starting in 2017, resulting in several high-profile games. In addition to a brief resurgence of the rivalry based on shared success and mutual respect between 2018 and 2022, when the Titans were led by head coach Mike Vrabel, a former Patriots player, and running back Derrick Henry, the Titans currently lead the series 30-21, but the Bills lead in postseason meetings 2-1. Notable players. Retired numbers. The Buffalo Bills have retired 3 numbers: number 12 for Jim Kelly, number 34 for Thurman Thomas, and number 78 for Bruce Smith. Other numbers are no longer issued or are in reduced circulation. Reduced circulation: 83, Andre Reed, wide receiver 1985 to 1999. Since the team's earliest days, the number 31 was not supposed to be issued to any player. The Bills had stationery and various other team merchandise showing a running player wearing that number, and it was not supposed to represent any specific person but the spirit of the team. In the first 3 decades of the team's existence, the number 31 was only seen once. In 1969, when reserve running back Preston Riddlehuber damaged his number 36 jersey during a game, equipment manager Tony Marchit gave him the number 31 jersey to wear while repairing the number 36. The number 31 was not reissued until 1990, when first-round draft choice James Williams wore it for his first 2 seasons. It has since been returned to general circulation. Cornerback Russell Douglas most recently wore the number through the 2024 season. Number 32 had been withdrawn from circulation but not retired after O.J. Simpson. Former owner Ralph Wilson insisted on not reissuing the number even after Simpson's highly publicized murder case and later robbery conviction. The number was placed back into circulation in 2019 with Seigneuri's Perry wearing the number that year. It was most recently worn by linebacker Nicholas Morrow until he was waived in January 2025. Number 15 was historically only issued sparingly after the retirement of Jack Kemp. It was last worn by kicker Matt Prater in 2025 and previously by wide receiver Marquez Valdez-Scantling in 2024 before he was released on October 15, 2024. Other numbers that have been historically issued only on rare circumstances included the 44 of Albert Dubenion, worn as of 2024 by Joe Andresen, and the 66 of Billy Shaw, worn since 2023 by Connor J. McGovern, each of which were typically only issued to players not expected to make the team's regular season's roster. Number 1 has also rarely been used for reasons yet to be explained. While there is no proper explanation, Tommy Hewitt was a player-coach for the early Buffalo teams in the New York Pro Football League and NFL from 1918 to 1924, and was both a major on-field success and a fixture in Buffalo culture after his retirement as a politician and auto salesman. Hewitt was reported to wear number 1 during this time. Wide receiver Curtis Samuel currently wears the number. Before Emmanuel Sanders' 1-year stint with the Bills in 2021, it had been 19 years since it had been worn in the regular season when kicker Mike Hollis wore it in 2002. Number 95 has not been reissued since the retirement of Kyle Williams in 2019. Ralph C. Wilson Jr. Distinguished Service Award recipients. 1986, Ben Williams. 87, Joe Delamieler. Sorry, Joe. I apologize. Steve Freeman, 1988, 1989, Jerry Butler, 1990, Tim Vogler, 91, Joe Ferguson, 92, Ken Jones, 93, Booker Edgerson, 94, Butch Bird, 95, Tony Green, 96, Frank Lewis, Roland Hooks, 97, Charlie Ferguson, Jim Richer, 98, Stu Barber, Ed Rutkowski, 99, Reggie McKenzie, Fred Smirlis, 2000, Daryl Taylor, Ernie Warlick, 2001, Kent Hull, Steve Tasker, 2002, Don Beebe, 2003, Thurman Thomas, 2004, Paul McGuire, 2005, Frank Reich, 2006, Phil Hansen, 2007, Lou Picone, Denny Lynch, 2008, Mark Kelso, Gretchen Geiter, 2009, Andre Reed, 2010, Reuben Brown, 2011, Scott Norwood, 2012, Chris Moore, 2013, Al B. Miller, 2014, Russ Brandon. Wall of Fame, inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. 1980, number 32, O.J. Simpson. 1984, number 15, Jack Kemp. 85, Pat McGroder. 87, number 70, Tom Sestak. 88, number 66, Billy Shaw. 89, Ralph C. Wilson Jr. 92, number 12, The 12th Man. 93, 44, Albert Dubenion. 94, number 58, Mike Stratton. 95, number 12, Joe Ferguson. 96, Mark Levy. 97, number 68, Joe Delamelier. I'm so sorry, Joe. 98, number 20, Robert James. 99, Edward Abramowski. 2000, number 61, Bob Kalsu. Number 26, George Sames. 2001, number 12, Jim Kelly. And number 76, Fred Smirlis. 2002, number 67, Kent Hull. 2003, number 56, Daryl Talley. 2004, number 51, Jim Richer. 2005, number 34, Thurman Thomas. 2006, number 83, Andre Reed. 2007, number 89, Steve Tasker. 2008, number 78, Bruce Smith. 2010, number 24, Booker Ederson. 2011, number 90, Phil Hansen. 2012, Bill Polian. 2014, Van Miller. 2015, Lou Saban. 2017, number 34, Cookie Gilchrist. All right, and we've got the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Buffalo Bills Hall of Famers for players. Number 32, O.J. Simpson is running back from 1969 to 1977. Inducted in 1985. Number 66, Billy Shaw, offensive guard, tenure 1961 to 69. Inducted in 1999. Number 12, Jim Kelly, quarterback, 1986 to 1996, inducted in 2002. Number 80, James Lofton, wide receiver, 1989 to 1992, inducted in 2003. Number 68, Joe DeLamelure, offensive guard, 1973 to 1979 and 1985, inducted in 2003. Number 34, Thurman Thomas, running back, tenure 1988 to 1999, inducted in 2007. Number 78, Bruce Smith, defensive end, 1985 to 1999, inducted in 2009. Number 83, Andre Reed, wide receiver, 1985 to 1999, inducted in 2014. Number 81, Terrell Owens, wide receiver, 2009, inducted in 2018. Coaches and executives. Mark Levy, head coach and general manager, 1986 to 1997 and 2006 to 2007, respectively. Inducted in 2001. Ralph Wilson, owner, 1959 to 2014, inducted in 2009. Bill Polian, general manager, 1984 to 1992, inducted in 2015. 50th anniversary team. For quarterback, Jim Kelly, running back, Thurman Thomas, wide receivers, Andre Reed, Eric Moulds, James Lofton, tight end, Pete Metzelaars, guard, Joe DeLamelure, Billy Shaw, Reuben Brown, Jim Richer, and center, Kent Hull. On defense, defensive end, Bruce Smith, defensive tackle, Fred Smirlis, Tom Sestak, linebackers, Daryl Taylor, Mike Stratton, Cornelius Bennett, Shane Conlon, cornerbacks, Butch Bird and Nate Odoms, safety, George Sains and Henry Jones, special teams, kicker, Steve Christie, punter, Brian Moorman, and special teams, Steve Tasker, and head coach, Marv Levy. Silver anniversary team. On April 27, 1984, Bills announced the silver anniversary team to commemorate its 25th anniversary. Quarterback, Jack Kemp. Running back, O.J. Simpson. Fullback, Cookie Gilchrist. Wide receivers, Albert Dubenion and Bob Chandler. Tight end, Ernie Warlick. Offensive tackle, Joe Devlin. Guard, Billy Shaw. Center, Alba Miller. Defense, defensive ends, Ben Williams and Ron McDowell. Tackles, Fred Smirlis and Tom Sestak. Linebackers, John Tracy and Jim Haslett, Mike Stratton. Cornerbacks, Robert James and Butch Bird. Safeties, George Sames and Steve Freeman. Kicker, Pete Gogolak and punter, Paul McGuire. And owner, Ralph Wilson. All right. We're not going to look at the all-time first-round draft picks or the recent Pro Bowl selection. For coaching staff, head coaches, the Bills have had 20 coaches serve as head coach in franchise history. We're not going to look at that list since it's in a different article. You can see the current staff on the article. There will be the article linked down below. I'm not going to read off all of these names and positions. Same with the current roster. Please check out the list for the current status of the wiki, because this is current as of the time of reading. Radio and television. The Buffalo Bills radio network is flagshipped at WGR AM 550 in Buffalo, with sister station WWKB AM 1520 simulcasting all home games. Chris Brown is the team's current play-by-play announcer, having taken over from John Murphy, the announcer from 2003 to 2022 and color commentator most years from 1984 to 2003, after Murphy suffered a stroke. Former Bills center Eric Wood is the color analyst. In 2018, the team signed an agreement with Nexstar Media Group to carry Bills preseason games across its network of stations in the region. As of 2020, WIVB TV serves as the flagship station of the network, which includes WJET TV in Erie, WROC in Rochester, WSYR in Syracuse, WUTR in Utica, WETM in Elmira, and WIVT in Binghamton. Steve Tasker does color commentary on these games. The play-by-play position is rotated between Andrew Catalon and Rob Stone. WROC reporter Thad Brown is the sideline reporter. Since 2008, preseason games have been broadcast in high definition. Beginning in the 2016 season, as per a new rights deal that covers rights to the team as well as its sister NHL franchise, the Buffalo Sabres, most team-related programming, including studio programming and the Coaches Show, was relocated to MSG Western New York, a joint venture of MSG and the team ownership. Preseason games will continue to air in simulcast on broadcast television. In the event that regular season games are broadcast by ESPN in accordance with the league's television policies, a local Buffalo station will broadcast the game. From 2014 to 2017, WKBW held the broadcast rights to that contest, with the station winning back the rights to cable games after WBBZ TV held the rights for 2012 and 2013. Training camp sites. 1960 to 1962, Roycroft Inn, East Aurora, New York. 1963 to 1967, Camelot Hotel, Blasdell, New York. 1968 to 1980, Niagara University, Lewiston, New York. 1981 to 1999, State University of New York at Fredonia, Fredonia, New York. 2000 to present, St. John Fisher University, Pittsford, New York. Mascots, cheerleaders, and marching band. The Bills' official mascot is Billy Buffalo, an 8-foot-tall anthropomorphic blue American bison who wears the jersey number BB. The Bills do not have cheerleaders. The Bills operated a cheerleading squad named the Buffalo Jills from 1960 to 1985. And from 1986 to 2013, the Jills operated as an independent organization sponsored by various companies. The Jills suspended operations before the 2014 season due to legal actions. The Bills and Jills were previously involved in a legal battle in which the Jills alleged they were employees, not independent contractors, and sought back pay. On March 3, 2022, a settlement was reached where the Bills agreed to pay the Jills $3.5 million, while Cumulus Media paid $4 million in stock options to the company while admitting no wrongdoing. The Bills are one of 6 teams in the NFL to designate an official marching band or drum line, the others being the Baltimore Ravens, Washington Commanders, New York Jets, Carolina Panthers, and Seattle Seahawks. Since the last game of the 2013 season, this position has been served by the Stampede drumline, known outside of Buffalo as downbeat percussion. The Bills have several theme songs associated with them. The most popular is a variation of the Isley Brothers hit Shout, recorded by Scott Kemper, which served as the Bills' official promotion song from 1987 through 1990s. It can be heard at every Bills home game after a field goal or touchdown, and at the game's end if the Bills win. The Bills' unofficial fight song, Go Bills, was penned by Bills head coach Marv Levy in the mid-1990s on a friendly wager with his players that he will write the song if the team won a particular game. In 2024, the Bills' offensive players began a tradition of singing along to Mr. Brightside by the Killers as a hype song, usually in the fourth quarter. The Bills were undefeated at home in 2024 after the song was introduced. Supporters. The Bills' backers are the original fan organization of the Buffalo Bills. It has over 200 chapters across North America, Europe, and Oceania. Also notable is the Bills Mafia organization via Twitter, beginning in 2010 by Del Reed, Leslie White, and Brayon Harris. The phrase Bills Mafia had by 2017 grown to unofficially represent the broad community surrounding and encompassing the team as a whole. and players who join the Bills often speak of joining the Bills Mafia. Outsiders frequently treat the Bills fan base in derogatory terms, especially since the 2010s, partly because of negative press coverage of select fans' wilder antics. In 2020, the Bills filed to trademark the Bills Mafia name. Bills fans are particularly well known for their wearing of Zubaz zebra-printed sportswear. So much is the association between Bills fans and Zubaz that when a revival of the company opened its first brick-and-mortar storefront, it chose Western New York as its first location. The wing hat, a hat shaped like a spicy chicken wing, much in the same style as the Green Bay Packers cheesehead hats, can also be frequently seen atop Bills fans' heads, having originated as promotional merchandise by the Anchor Bar, the purported inventors of the modern chicken wing as a delicacy. Another hat associated with the Bills fandom is the water buffalo hat, resembling the headgear of the fictional Loyal Order of the Water Buffaloes seen in the TV series The Flintstones. This hat gained particular popularity with the Water Buffalo Club 716, a community of over 2,000 Bills supporters from around the world, founded in 2021 by Therese Fortin Barnes. In 1982, a local grocery store introduced the Whammy Weenie as a promotional item, a maraca-like hot dog-shaped device painted green, which was not a Bills color, but instead painted as such in reference to a military slang term that Bills fans were supposed to shake at the team's opponents. Bills owner Ralph Wilson, after having seen a Whammy Weenie dangled in front of his suite in the midst of a disappointing season, ordered the Whammy Weenie to be discontinued due to the double entendre it posed. Bills Mafia members are also well known for jumping off of elevated surfaces, often cars or RVs, into folding tables in the style of professional wrestlers during the pregame tailgate. Bills Mafia fans do this in tradition to be closer to the players as to get similar injuries they get during the game without playing football. Bills fans are noted for their frequent support for charitable causes, especially helping charities run by players from opposing teams. After the Bills received help in breaking their 17-year playoff drought through a last-minute Cincinnati Bengals victory, Bills fans crowdfunded the charities of Bengals players Andy Dalton and Tyler Boyd with hundreds of thousands of dollars as a gesture of thanks. Also in 2020, after a November 8th upset win over the Seattle Seahawks, led by one of the best ever performances by quarterback Josh Allen, news emerged that Allen had taken the field the day after his grandmother's death. Fans showed support for their team and community by donating nearly $700,000 to the O'Shea Children's Hospital, an organization supported by Allen during his time in Buffalo. After the Bills' defeat of the Baltimore Ravens in the divisional round of the 2020-2021 NFL playoffs and an injury to Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson late in that game, Bills fans crowdfunded Jackson's favorite charity, Blessings in a Backpack. After a 2024 game between the Bills and Miami Dolphins, Bills fans helped raise $18,000 for Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa's charity, the Tua Foundation, after Tagovailoa suffered a concussion during the game. The Bills are one of the favorite teams of ESPN announcer Chris Berman, who picked the Bills to reach the Super Bowl nearly every year in the 1990s. Berman often uses the catchphrase, "No one circles the wagons like the Buffalo Bills." Berman gave the introduction speech for Bills owner Ralph Wilson when Wilson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 2009. The Bills were also the favorite team of late NBC political commentator Tim Russert, a South Buffalo native who often referred to the Bills on his Sunday morning talk show Meet the Press. His son Luke is also a notable fan of the team. CNN's Wolf Blitzer, also a Buffalo native, has proclaimed he is also a fan, as has CBS Evening News lead anchor and Tonawanda native Jeff Glor and DNC chairman Tom Perez. ESPN anchor Kevin Connors has been a Bills fan since he attended Ithaca College. Actor Nick Bakay, a Buffalo native, is also a well-known Bills fan. He has discussed the team in segments of NFL Top 10. Character actor William Fitchner, raised in Cheektowaga, is a fan, did a commercial for the team in 2014. In 2015, Fitchner narrated the ESPN 30 for 30 documentary on the Bills' 4 Super Bowl appearances, Four Falls of Buffalo. Former Olympic swimmer Summer Sanders, an in-law to former Bills kicker Todd Schlopey, has professed her fandom of the team. Actor Christopher McDonald, who was raised in Romulus, New York, is a fan of the team. Persons notable almost entirely for their Bills fandom include Ken Pinto Ron Johnson, whose antics while appearing at every Bills home and away games since 1994 earned enough scrutiny that his tailgate parties were banned from stadium property on order of the league. John Lang, an Elvis impersonator who carries a large guitar that he uses as a billboard. Mark Miller, whose professional wrestling promo-style interview with WGRZ before Super Bowl 27, distinguished by the line, "Dallas is going down, Gary," and picked up at the time by the George Michael Sports Machine, was rediscovered in 2019. And Ezra Castro, also known as Pancho Villa, a native of El Paso, Texas, who wore a large sombrero and a lucha mask in Bill's colors. Castro was diagnosed with a spinal tumor that had metastasized in 2017. He was invited on stage during the 2018 NFL Draft to read one of the Bills' selections. Castro died on May 14th, 2019. In popular culture, several former Buffalo Bills players earned a name in politics in the late 20th century after their playing careers had ended, nearly always as members of the Republican Party. The most famous of these was quarterback Jack Kemp, who was elected to the U.S. House of Representatives from Western New York in 1971. 2 years after his playing career ended, he remained in Congress for nearly 2 decades, serving as the Republican Party nominee for Vice President of the United States under Bob Dole in 1996. Kemp's backup, Ed Rutkowski, served as county executive of Erie County from 1979 to 1987. Former tight end Jay Remersma, nose tackle Fred Smerlas, and defensive end Phil Hansen have all run for Congress, though all three either lost or withdrew from their respective races. Now, there's also a season-by-season record in its own article, and that's it. So, thank you very much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, do make sure you hit the like button, and as always, put a comment down below. Let me know what articles you'd like to hear about next. And with that said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more videos, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.